Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. We're gonna just chill, do a evening stream here. I've got a couple of things to fix from the feedback channel. So, actually one second. Okay. I had to change something really quick. I also have to make this bigger. I forgot to do that. That's okay. Anyway, the Alchemortis playtest is running right now. So if you want to join the playtest, give the game a try. Let me know what you think. You can go to the Steam page. It's linked below. Click Request Access. And then inside of the Discord, you can send me your feedback. I already got a bunch of good feedback. Seems to be a lot of people enjoying this version of the game. So I'm very happy about that. And yeah, we're just going to be doing some quality of life stuff. I want to change a little bit about how the controller input hinting works. Like I want to show contextually the controller buttons that you can use whenever you're doing certain things. So yeah, I want to do that for sure. And then we may do some other content and whatnot. I think, content is always a good thing to do. I need to go through this backlog at some point. There's 131 tasks in the backlog, and I need to go through and like pick some of these out to prioritize them. But we'll just kind of do random stuff for now. But anyway, yeah, check out Alchemortis on Steam. I would appreciate that. And let's get right into it. Hello. Fireblast, welcome. Good to see you. Hello, Clickertail. Emerson, welcome, welcome. Wanted to say I cannot join the playtest because of a bug called Microsoft Disabled Access. Is that a real bug or is that a meme? If it's a real bug, Semi-he, if it's a real bug, if you could share that in the Discord, that'd be great, like a screenshot or something. I haven't heard that reported anywhere else, and that's especially weird because it's being distributed through Steam, so yeah, I wouldn't know where to start with that, but if you share me a screenshot, I may be able to do some research and figure out why that's happening. Romance? Goodness gracious. Alright, romance in this economy? Alright, so I'm kind of discombobulated. So we want to do contextual, well, let's help Jack out. Let's add the weapon tag to the fencer. Let's just do that really quick. Minion weapon. Alright. Add weapon tag to fencer. There we go. All right, so that's done. All right, let's do the contextual controller buttons. So if I go to buttons, I may want to restructure this actually, but these buttons will show up dynamically based on what's happening. So we've already got drag prompts here. Update display. Oh, I wonder why this isn't working. Force device. Okay, let me see if I can figure this out. Button, prompt, icon. Oh, I guess that makes sense, actually. I think it works in-game. I'm pretty sure it works in-game. I've got my controller. Okay. So if I open up my inventory and I grab this, yeah, LB, RB, move. So I did make a change earlier as well, where it used to be the case that you could only move the boards when you press the bumpers. But now if you move over to the edge of the board and you press over, you can traverse over to other boards as well. So that's a little bit of just like a nice quality of life thing. So that should help out a little bit with the controller feel. So I can do that now. I can also cancel, go this way. So yeah, so we want these controller context options to change based on what's happening. So the main one that we want to handle is the combat. So I'm going to go to my buttons here. So we've got these drag prompts. Let's also put combat prompts here. What is the VBox container? 4. Okay, so it's all 4. All right, so we've got our combat prompts. We're going to want start combat prompt. And maybe like an auto resolve prompt. Okay. Now I got to figure out where that actually is. Keybinds menu. This is called controller combat. Okay. So this one would actually be what is even going on here? Why did I put that in a separate scene? Show in file system, view owners. I don't know why. Let's just make that local. Why did I do that? I don't really understand that, but that's okay. Okay, so this one, start combat prompt. Unless, oh, am I using, no. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Okay, anyway. So we've got a start combat prompt. Yeah, I really don't know why that's not working. That's all right. Start combat prompt, controller combat. Oh, no, that's fine. Wait, so I should just force the controller device on all of these, actually. Update display, update display, update display, update display. Okay. So we got the start combat. So this would be start, pause, combat. This one would be auto resolve. So controller auto resolve? Nope. Auto resolve combat. Oh, it requires modifier. Auto resolve. Oh, it's controller combat with modifier. Okay. Combat with modifier update display. Okay, and this is auto resolve. These all need to be translated too, so that's going to be fun. Anyway, so we've got our combat prompts, we've got our drag prompts. All right. Okay, cool. So now I need to change when this is shown based on the context. And actually, I'm going to need to change both of them. So start combat, that should be present always in combat. Auto resolve, this should only be present if we're actually in combat. So I'm going to need combat prompt and auto resolve prompt. So let's do node private control combat prompts and then auto resolve prompt, and then I'll catch up on the chat. Private button prompt, auto resolve prompt. Okay. I'm back. Just did a live stream of me using Godot and realized how bad I am at coding. Oh, that's all right. I'm so bad it took 2 hours to make a Pong game that you can only score once. Oh, wow. Well, everyone has to start somewhere, you know? Everyone has to start somewhere. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome back. I searched it. It's causing because of spamming E, Alt F4 while in combat. E Alt F4? What? I think you're memeing me, aren't you? Are you trying to get me to hit Alt F4 on my game? E plus Alt F4. I don't know. I have a. Am I being memed? I think I'm being memed. I think they're trying to bait me into closing my apps. Hello, V. Welcome back. Okay. I think so, yeah. It's okay. Hey, I'm almost 32 years old. That kind of stuff doesn't work on me anymore. Sorry to say. I've seen all the tricks the internet can throw at me. All right. So I need to detect when combat starts. What microphone do I use? It's a Shure SM7B. It's the typical streamer podcaster mic. I got it a few years ago. Sounds pretty good, right? Actually, the fun part about microphones is like they almost never sound right out of the box. Like the microphone is good for reducing background noise and having like I think this one has a cardioid pickup pattern, which basically means that it picks up noises around this area of the microphone, but not so much coming from the back, so it's a little bit directed. But you usually have to apply not a lot, but you have to apply a little bit of post-processing with like EQ and stuff to get it sounding really good. Audio hardware is a fun little adventure. Game events dot instance connect to combat started. On combat started. Game events dot instance dot connect to combat ended. On combat ended. So in here, on combat ended, we're gonna say auto resolve prompt dot visible equals false. Private void on combat started. Auto resolve prompt dot visible equals true. So now we need to detect when we're actually in combat though. Event. I mean, I might just connect to the run manager. This dot get run manager dot connect to combat entered. Do I have a, let's see, connect to combat entered on combat entered. Private void on combat entered. Object, I don't really care what that argument is. So now I want to show combat prompts equals true. Combat prompts dot visible equals true. Okay, and then up here, combat prompts dot visible equals false. Okay. So now I need to know when the combat ends. I thought I might have recently added the signal for this. Combat entered. Combat rewards entered. Entered event handler. Do I not have a combat exited? Let's see. State combat. Emit combat started. Oh, interesting. State combat victory. Emit combat victory. So we can go to combat victory. I don't really have a leave combat state, do I? State combat victory. State player died. Oh. Oh, do I want to do like state combat preparation? Change state combat preparation. Am I even using this anymore? I don't think so. Yeah, that's not even used. I might have to strip out some of that stuff. There's some old code hanging around that doesn't do anything, but I think if I enter state combat preparation, state combat setup, state combat preparation. Okay. Let's just do combat preparation entered. Signal, public, delegate, void. Oops. Old People Club for life. That thing costs 500 in my currency, including the arm. 500 yen is like 1 cent in dollars. What is this guy trying to do with all these state combats? This run manager is a giant state machine that drives the whole game, basically. To hang around and don't do anything, that's why I'm bad with party. Combat preparation entered. Event handler. Okay. State combat preparation. I don't know. Do I want to... I guess I'll just put it up here. Combat preparation entered. So on queued combat handled, emit combat ended. Okay, so I don't think... Yeah, so on combat ended, I also want to do... Actually, wait, comment entered. Now I'm getting confused. Does this ever go back into state combat setup? Okay, I don't think so. So I actually want to change this. Connect to combat preparation entered. On combat preparation entered. Combat prompts.visible equals true. Auto-resolve prompt.visible equals false. On combat started, set that to true. On combat ended, combat prompts.visible equals false. All right, did I finally get it? Did I finally get it? Let's just see. So let's put up the training dummy. Okay. What language are you coding in? It's C#. C# with Godot. My favorite combination in the whole wide world. All right, so start, pause, combat, auto-resolve. I auto-resolve it, and that goes away. Sell that, and go in here. Start, pause, combat. And the drag stuff shows up as well. That looks a little bit weird to be shifting that down, so I may change the order of that. I'll put the drag prompts at the bottom. So basically, I think the way this should work is the most transient ones should be near the bottom, so that as stuff gets added, it just gets added instead of shifting stuff around. So we got LB, RB, move, cancel, start, pause, combat, RT plus X, auto-resolve. Do I want to put the speed prompts in there? I don't think so. It's going to get a little bit crowded, I think, but RTX auto-resolve. Perfect. Sell that bad boy. All right. Actually, I think that works pretty good. So is there any other situations where I would want to... are there any other situations where I'd want to have some kind of... Oh, I have some errors. What are these errors? Handle is not initialized. Good. Is it better to code another language other than GDScript? More efficient or something? No. GDScript is fine. I just like C# because it's... I'm just more comfortable with it. I feel like I can do more complex things with it, but GDScript is more than capable. I actually really like GDScript. It's just, yeah, I just like the extra tools that C# gives me for structuring my games. That's all. Booster. Yeah, I don't think I really need to do any other... I don't think I really need to do any other things here. Go here. Wait a minute. That guy there. Should probably include everything I'm saying in one message because you read them one at a time, shouldn't I? Well, no, I mean it's all right. Whatever you want. You can't write a super long message anyway. Auto resolve. Goodbye. I thought this situation was not supposed to happen. Why is that happening? So my map generation is supposed to not do stuff like this. I guess I can write down the seed. Output. Let me grab that seed. Map seed is generating a wrong path. So the reason why this is a wrong path is because I don't want situations like this. So there's an artifact here. Well, maybe actually... Am I thinking about that wrong? Oh, I'm thinking about it wrong, I think. Yeah, never mind. I don't know where my mind is at. So what my map generation is supposed to do, what I thought was being an issue is like, there shouldn't be a situation where like, what was the situation I was thinking of? Oh, yeah. This is the situation that I was thinking of. So the map generation, let's assume that I've got a node here and I've got a node here and a node here, right? What should never happen is I should never have a path that goes like this and then a path that goes like this and then like that, right? And the reason why I don't want that to happen, where you can either go to this node from this one, going up this way, or you can go to this one and go to that one, is because there's an obvious better choice here. Like, unless this is a combat or something, if this is just an upgrade node and this is also an upgrade node, there's no choice. There's no choice to be made here. There's no universe in which you would rather just skip this one and go that way, right? So you're always going to go that way. And the problem is that actually that doesn't present a choice in the map. So a situation like this should never happen in the map generation, right? What I was getting confused by is that this is basically just a straight line, but there actually is a choice here, right? Because I start at this node, I choose to go to this one or this one and then to that one, right? So I'm not actually like getting like a free upgrade. So anyway, I don't know why I got confused by that, but I'm trying to avoid this situation with the map generation because this is essentially not a choice. If a map if a series of nodes gets generated like this, I think what I do is I just erase that edge, because it's not a choice anyway, so might as well just remove it and just make it seem like just enforce the fact that the player doesn't have a choice. But this is also more interesting too, because in the off chance that this gets generated, as a combat, now you're forced to go through the combat, right? Instead of being able to skip the combat by going this way, you're forced through it, right? So yeah, anyway, I thought that was an issue. It wasn't an issue. I don't know what's wrong with me, but anyway. He hates GD script. I don't actually even know what this game is about. Looks interesting. You can check out the Steam page. Could have just wasted so much time in the future. Well, that's why you got to think about things. But yeah, the Steam page, you can check out the Steam page. It's a dark fantasy roguelite Autobattler. If you like games like Backpack Battles and similar, it's in that vein. One thing I was going to mention, when you quick sell from the booster, the focus goes to your board once you're done. It's caused me to sell my item too because I was spamming to sell 3 items from the booster. Oh yeah, I have that in my 2 fix. Where is it? Where did that go? Did I remove that on accident? Oh yeah, here. So if focus is lost on a board item by quick sell while using controller, focus the closest item. So I'm gonna fix that. Wouldn't double upgrade feel like good luck? Blessed run. Yeah, I mean that's fine. Like a double upgrade moments are fine. I'm not saying you can't have multiple upgrades in a row. So like there's 2 upgrades here, right? Item upgrade in health and a booster, right? So that's a string of 3 in a row. That's fine. That's part of the game. What I don't want to do is I don't want to give like the player a choice that actually isn't really a choice, right? So when the map branches, it should always be a choice between 2 different things, right? So here, for example, there's a reagent. You can imagine a situation where there was a road going from the reagent to the artifact. In that case, I would just always take that route, the booster, and then to the artifact. I would never skip the booster and go to the artifact alone. Why would I do that? That doesn't make any sense, right? And so all I'm saying with the map is like only generate branching paths when there's a genuine choice. Otherwise, just enforce the default obvious path, right? So like here, enchant, you have a choice. You can go to the reagents or the booster, right? But then your choice is also going to be affected by like what's after those things. Because if I go to the booster, I could go either to the upgrade or the shop, but the shop is not an option for me if I go to the reagents first, right? So yeah. Anyway. Was there an artifact other node on the straight line or what? Yeah. Yeah, there was. Slate Aspire handles that by using a map grid, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's like my map is essentially, I mean, it's not really a grid, but it's directional. It's a forced directional map. So the nodes are not aligned to a grid, but there's a lot of path enforcement that's going on. How far in development is this game? Release is going to happen before the end of the year. So we're getting to the end. It's almost done. It's almost done. But anyway, I don't think I really answered my question, which is, do I need any other contextual buttons here? What were some of the other controls that people were not... quick sell. Oh, I want to do quick sell probably. So when the inventory is open and when I'm hovered over an item. So let's do that. Combat prompts in top right. Okay, so card mouse entered. Card mouse events manager, connect to card mouse exited. Card mouse exited. Let's do the quick sell. Yeah, probably want to do. Actually, I think it's just. Click right. It would be click right. Container sizing, shrink end. Quick sell prompt. Force device controller, require modifier. There we go. All right, let's grab a reference to that. Button prompt. Quick sell prompt. Quick sell prompt dot visible is equal to false. Private void on card mouse entered. Quick sell prompt visible equals true. On card mouse exited. Visible equals false. All right. That's a really late stream in here in Germany, 12:20 a.m. Well, welcome, Louis. Good to see you. Glad you're still up. Oops. I need the card ref, which I don't care about, so we'll just do this. Actually, I guess I do need the card ref there. Live streaming again? Yes, I am. Welcome, Avicina. I hope I said that right. Welcome back. People are already making Piranha builds. That's crazy. Yeah, Piranha's fun. I like it. Hello, Karma Chaos. Quick cue if you don't mind. Where do you initialize adding custom signals? I'm trying to find best practice for that, but I'm struggling. Are you talking about like connecting to custom signals? Because the signal registration is done at, you know, at your script level. So you tell Godot that this signal is available. But in terms of when you connect to the signal, I mean, you can connect to the signals whenever you want. The only problem where the signal registration time is important is like, let's say that some game state is going to be set basically as soon as something enters the tree. And that state being changed emits a signal that you need to listen for in your UI, for example. There could be a problem where if you connect to the signal too late, then you will miss that initial state change, right? So that's the only thing you really have to be careful of, is you need to make sure that you're connected to whatever signal you want to listen to before before that signal is actually emitted for the first time. But in my case, like the signals that I'm connecting to here, I'm doing it on ready in the buttons scene, which is part of like my main scene. And none of these things, none of these events or signals are going to be emitted until there's some kind of player input anyway. So I'm pretty much guaranteed that this is going to be connected before any of those signals have been emitted for the first time. But otherwise, you can connect to signals whenever you want. Like it doesn't matter that much. And where do you initialize them? Yeah, I think just in ready methods, if you want. Another pattern that I use quite frequently is like, you know, like I'll have something like a public method, and this will be like public void register run manager. So let's say that I don't know where a run manager instance is, but let's say that I have a scene that not only knows where the run manager is, but also knows where this scene is here. I might do something like register run manager, and then from the parent, I might call register run manager on this scene, on this instance, and pass in the run manager. So then in here, I could do run manager dot connect to state changed, blah, 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 right? So that's a pattern that I use quite frequently as well. But yeah, usually I connect to things on ready. I don't really, yeah, I basically just connect to signals whenever the scene is added to the tree. Would you recommend I buy a course, or should I somehow teach myself scripting? I'm a complete beginner. I would like to know how did you learn, if you don't mind me asking? Well, I'm not the kind of person that ever really got a lot of value out of courses. I've always learned how to do things just by, like watching YouTube videos and reading documentation and struggling through things on my own. And I learned programming quite a long time ago. I started programming when I was 14. I didn't start getting good at programming until I was like 18 or 19. I'm 30, almost 32 now. So my memory of like how I got into it is a little bit hazy, because it was one of those things where like I wasn't a great programmer, but I was so interested in making things that I just kept learning just by the desire to make things. But I think largely it's just a trial by fire. It's like what I said. Like I just went off and tried to figure things out and looked at Google search and forums and stuff and tried to figure out what the heck I was doing and how to get what I wanted to working. And you just do that enough, and over time you build up the experience that's required to learn or to do the things that you want to do, right? So I don't have any experience myself with learning from a course. I know a lot of people find courses helpful, but I think, if you can just learn on your own too, by just going headlong into the problems and just, one thing that's really nice is, there's a wealth of information now about anything game dev related, so you can basically find anything you want to find. So yeah, use the resources available to you, try to figure things out on your own, just piecing together what you can find from those resources. And the unfortunate thing is like it just takes time, right? You just have to do that enough. Would having different instances of a script with custom signal initialized in its ready method cause issues? No. You can connect to a signal to with as many subscribers as you want, right? So I could have 12 different of these scenes and connect to all of these same signals. And basically what that does is that just calls these methods on each instance every time the signal emitter emits a signal, right? So this is just the Godot signal stuff. I don't know why they called it signals, because it's kind of confusing. It's just an observer pattern, basically, right? You're just basically saying, hey, I want to subscribe to this event. I want to know when this thing changes. So I'm going to register myself with you. And then when the signal gets emitted, essentially all it's doing is it's just iterating over all of the connected methods and just calling them. That's basically all it does, right? So yeah, you can connect to the signal as many times as you want. I could even connect to the signal multiple times in this instance. Like I could duplicate these as many times as I want, and that's just going to call these methods that many times whenever it gets emitted. Obviously, that wouldn't make sense in this scenario, but yeah, you don't need to worry about that. Like every instance has its own internal state and its own methods. And so, yeah, you can connect to those signals as many times as you want from as many instances as you want, basically. The good old days. I love how you said about courses as your little ad and your course popped up. Also, thanks for the info. Yeah. My courses are there for people that want to learn how to build games, but I'm not the kind of person that would say that everyone's best thing to do is to take a course. Like, I think it depends on the kind of person that you are. There's certainly people out there who like the more structured learning style. Me, I can't stand it. Like I hated school. I didn't hate college, but I didn't really find my classes in college that appealing at all. Like the last thing I want to do is sit in a lecture and do predefined coursework. I've just always hated that learning style. Always hated it. But not everyone is me, so Thank you for answering my question so thoughtfully. You're welcome. Thank you for the 1,000 jewels. We have the goat. I still don't know what jewels are. But thank you. It's very much appreciated. Quick sell, look at that. Bam. And it disappears when we're not hovering over an item, so that's good. Look at that. Alrighty. So there's a little bit of a... So I think like there's some very specific interactions that I want to fix up here. Also, yeah, I think hitting the bumper would be nice. So the problem, like, the bumper buttons are designed to switch between boards. They're not designed to switch between, like, menus, but I think I'm realizing, and based on the feedback that I've gotten, that using the right bumper to go to, like, individual, like, conceptual sections of the game would be nice. So if I press right bumper from here, I go over to this board. But then if I press right bumper again, it feels like I should be able to go over to the artifact selection, right? And then if I click left bumper again, I should go back over. Now that works because as soon as I press a bumper, it looks for the closest board in that bumper direction. So if I press left bumper, it goes over to the board that's to the left of the current cursor position. But because the artifact controls over here, these are not boards, that ends up not working because it just, there's no board to the right, right? So I think what I need to do is I need to add like some kind of marker that tells my focus system that you should consider this as a focusable if there are no boards in the bumper direction. So if I press a bumper direction and there's no boards in that direction, but there is a focusable control in that direction, then I should do that. I think what I have to go do though is individually go into each scene and like mark which one should be the target of that bumper focus. Which, I don't know, maybe I can do something like that, but add a bumper focusable component. For example, in artifact scene, mark first pillar as bumper focusable and grab focus on that item if there is no valid board. So we'll do that at some point. Just takes a while to get good at anything, coding, sports, whatever. Yeah, that's true. When you're doing a course but you are forced to do it on something you really don't want to do it on, that would be an issue. That would be awesome, the controller stuff. This game looks very polished. Hope it sells well when it releases. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I hope so too. I hope so too. But I think the hard work that I did paid off when I redid all the controller focus stuff. I think people are finding it a lot more intuitive now, which is good. So yeah, with just a bunch of little UX things to address still, but definitely can do that for sure. All right, but I don't want to do these right now because I don't want to work on controller stuff. Let's see. Do we have any bugs we want to work on? No. Anything in the backlog? Allow refunding unlocks. Consider disallowing duplicate reagent drops. Interesting. Disallow duplicate reagent drops. Do I want to do that? I can't do Encyclopedia of Game Mechanics. Give characters starting board effects. Werewolf should inherit legendary status and ability of the Strange Man. I think we can do that. We might as well fix that. This one's done. Oh, no, it's not. I don't know what I'm saying. I guess I should have planned this out. Confirmation, oh, that's translation. Oh, that's done. Make it nearest map node to player. Yeah, that one's done. I did that one. Oh, that one's done as well. No, is it done? I don't even know. Whatever. Oh, that one's done. Look at that. I mean, I should probably just delete that. I'm going to put this one down here somewhere. All right, well. Make necrosis affect player as well. I don't think I want to do that one anymore. Let's just do some new content. I don't really have any good ideas of anything to do, so I should have planned this out. I thought there was one other thing that I wanted to do. I already did this one, so this is basically done. At the start of combat, corrupt one enemy item for each corrupted item you have. We do need more legendary abilities. Maybe we can think of some legendary abilities to do. Because I don't have a whole lot of legendary abilities in the game right now. It's way better now? Okay, good. Do you ever get demotivated or at least take like a month of time off of projects like these? I would say demotivation. So demotivation happens frequently, I think. I think that's just a normal part of game development, which is why I don't think trying to use motivation to power yourself through a game project or any long-term project really is a good thing. Like the work is easy when the motivation is there, but the work is not so easy when the motivation isn't there. So the thing that really matters is the discipline, like being able to sit down and spend a dedicated chunk of time working on the game, even when it sucks. My experience with motivation is that it's very much like a peaks and valleys kind of deal where, you know, I'll implement a new feature and then like it opens up all these possibilities, or maybe the feature itself is just really fun to build from a programming perspective. And so like all I want to do is like work on that feature and like get it working and stuff. But then there are things that just aren't fun, like the controller support, right? Like if I was just relying on motivation, like controller support would have never been implemented because I was never motivated to do that. But it's something that has to be done for the game to be complete. And so I just kind of like bit the bullet and started work on it, you know? So I say like the motivation comes and goes for sure. As far as taking a month off, I've done that for Gunforged. Like my last game, Gunforged, I took months of time off at a time. And what I'm realizing, and what I realized after I released the game, is that was largely a function of the game not having a great design. Like the reason why I didn't want to work on it, the reason why I was able to step away for months is because there wasn't really anything there. And I think that's a useful signal. So if you ever feel like that with one of your games, I think it's worth questioning, like, what is it about the game that is making it hard to dedicate yourself to, right? Because with Alka Mortis, I haven't really had those issues. Like, I haven't had a desire to step away from Alka Mortis for a large step of time. And I think the reason for that is because there was always something compelling about the game idea to me. And I always felt like whatever issues existed with the game were issues that could be fixed, that the core of the game was solid, that there was something there. And then like refining and polishing and hacking away all the issues was just a way of like surfacing that core, right? And so that was, you know, that's what's kept it easy, at least for me to work on Alka Mortis, is like it always has had a solid idea. It just required work to like get that idea in shape. So yeah, I mean, that's based on my experience. It's probably something wrong with your game fundamentally if you feel like you want to take long breaks from it. Because if it's got something like good fundamentally about it, then it's a lot easier to consistently work on. The only thing for me is those two things in the to-do list, so almost perfect. Okay, awesome. So I will do those for sure. But let's think about some legendary abilities. I haven't done, like, I think there's like 7 legendary abilities in the game, which is not good. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. This list, in my ideal world, this would be closer to like 50. So we are not even close. I really have been neglecting working on legendary abilities. So let's do that. We need some legendary ability ideas. Yeah, good point about motivation. Here's a mostly YouTube side of question. Do you ever load up your project and feel like you have to live stream at work on the game? Or are you perfectly fine with working on the game offline? No, I work on the game offline all the time. The vast majority of this game's development has been offline. Usually I fire up a stream when I'm just kind of like doing content or something, or in the mornings I stream, and that's usually just stuff where I have a good idea of what I want to do. But I do a lot of the most difficult parts of development off stream. Like the parts of development where I'm like not really sure what's going to happen, or not really sure what I want to work on, or, you know, sometimes I have to do boring stuff like prioritizing the tasks that I want to do next, or doing a bunch of translation, rewording work. Sometimes if I'm not feeling particularly artsy in a given day, I'll just struggle with art for like several hours. And that kind of stuff doesn't really make for a good live stream. It's not very engaging. So my live streams are usually just done when I have a good idea of what I want to do, or when I know that I just kind of want to chill and just do stuff that I know aren't going to be super difficult to do. But yeah, I definitely don't feel like I need to do it. +1, we need a poison one. Okay, poison. Let's do a poison legendary. What would be a good poison legendary? Maybe something like if there are at least 5 items that apply poison, five items with a poison ability do something, right? So we can make it like a poison augmenting legendary. I mean, we could do something interesting like apply some ridiculous amount of poison or we could do something interesting like apply 1 poison with a guaranteed critical chance, right? Or apply 10 poison with a guaranteed critical chance. So we get like a guaranteed critical. So that means if you drive up your critical chance or your critical bonus to like 20, you could get a 30 poison ability or something, right? Something like that. Start the battle with poison already applied to the enemy board. Yeah, that might be possible. Or apply 50 poison instantly or something. Yeah, that might be possible. That might be possible. I don't know if that's possible from a technical perspective. I mean, we could do both, right? Like we could have 2 poison abilities. I would be worried about diluting this small pool, but 50 poison instantly is an interesting one. Let's try that. If that doesn't work, we'll fall back to this one. But anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break. I'm going to get some water. I'm out. See, this is empty. It's empty. So I'm going to get some water and then we'll do this ability. So be right back in just 3 minutes. All right, I'm back. Let's see if we could do this legendary ability. So the big question to ask is, can I trigger an ability immediately on combat start? Var poison on combat start equals new composed ability. Poison on combat start. Let's see. So we need a combat start listener. New generic combat start listener. Oh, it looks like I may be able to use this. Oh, yes. Very nice. This is going to be possible, everybody. Wait, why do I need... I don't think I need any of that. Oh, maybe I do. So we're gonna store is combat started. I'll think about the conditions in a little bit. Let's do var conditional poison. Let's just do var poison. It's equal to new poison. Let's just do something like 25. So const int base poison is equal to 25. Let's do base poison here. Conditional ability. So var conditional poison is equal to new conditional ability decorator poison. The condition, let's just do true for now. I got to figure out the condition. We want to put this here. All right, so we do context.base card execute abilities. Context with, wait, why am I doing that? Execute abilities, really? That doesn't seem right to me. Generic combat start listener. Add card to, yeah, I should be using, okay. I may have to look at the carnivorous plant as well. I think I'm doing that wrong. I think this is the way to do it. I should be going through the turn executor component. Yeah, I think I need to go through the turn executor component. Why, is there a reason why the carnivorous plant is not doing that? All right, well, I'll take a look at that later. Legendary ability, apply poison on combat start. Take a look at carnivorous plant, ensure that direct execute abilities call is necessary, or if turn executor component add card to rerun lifecycle works. I guess we'll just call it quality of life. I don't know. We won't worry about that just yet. So this would be ability is equal to conditional poison, or card ability has ancestor conditional poison. We don't care about include non-combat abilities. So is combat started true? So wait, this actually needs to be, did I copy that? No. Shapeshifter. Exhaust applicator. The heck is this? Oh, it exhausts an enemy. Okay. This is what I want. Include non-combat abilities, base card. Yeah, that's right. I feel like this is weird. Abilities to execute filter. I guess the filter makes sense. What would be nicer here if I could just specify a list of abilities to execute, but I guess that's not how it works. And maybe that's why I'm using the carnivorous plant. No, that doesn't make sense either. Well, what the heck, man. Anyway, so the problem here is I don't want this poison to go again. Generic combat star listener. How does this even work? Generic combat start listener. So the problem that I'm not really sure how I'm going to resolve right now is I only want this to go once. So I want this poison to execute once. The reason why I need to wrap it in a conditional is I need to flip this to false after the first time that it's executed. But I don't really know if there's a good way of doing that. I mean, I could do something weird like, I could do something really weird like var generic flag flipper is equal to new generic ability with the context coming in. We're going to say var can do poison is equal to true. And we're going to do can do poison is equal to false. Can do poison. And then in here, we're going to execute if ability is equal to generic flag flipper or that. And then as long as I do this, if I do the conditional poison and then the generic flag flipper and then the combat start listener, the ordering is guaranteed. So these will always execute in this order. So what's going to happen is the poison's going to go, it's going to return true because it's set to true by default. And then it's going to call the flag flipper as part of this rerun execution. So it's going to flip that to false. So that means that every time in the future when this executes in combat, it's not going to cast the poison. Now I do need a generic reset state. And I know I have to catch up on the chat. Just let me finish this real quick. Generic transient state. We need to do can do poison is equal to true again. And then we'll put that at the end here. I think that will work. I'm back. I've been asking you a lot of questions, but I was just wondering, what do you think about this question? Would you recommend a beginner with no experience learn GDScript or C# first? GDScript for sure. If you have no experience with programming, so the problem is the learning curves are like compounding, right? Not only do you have the learning curve of learning how to do the engine, how to use the tool, right, the engine, but you also have the learning curve of like, how do you program for games? Because programming games is a very different way of thinking about things compared to like programming a stateful application, for example, like a web page or some kind of desktop app. So learning how to use the tool and learning how to program for games specifically, and then also learning programming at the same time, those are like 3 compounding difficulty curves. And then if you have a programming language which also has like a strict type system like C#, now you've got to learn what types mean as well, right? So you've got like these 4 compounding difficulty curves all at once. And so if you're a beginner, the obvious thing to do would be to reduce the amount of learning curves reduce the learning curves as much as possible, right? Or flatten the curves and reduce the number of curves. So I would definitely recommend going with GDScript simply for the fact that it has a type system, either implicitly or explicitly, but you don't have to think about that as a beginner. That's one of the nice things about it. You don't have to think very deeply about the types when you're just using normal GDScript without static typing. So definitely recommend GDScript. The other thing too is like getting C# to work involves setting up a development environment, getting the right version of the .NET SDK. You got to worry about all like the C# project configuration, etc. That can just be a lot for a beginner, whereas GDScript just works right in the editor, right? So definitely GDScript. Definitely GDScript. And the other thing I would say too is like, yes, like I think the thing about programming is like all the languages are basically the same. And what I mean by that is like the fundamentals are the same. So if you know how to think about programming, if you know when you're supposed to use a list and when you're supposed to use a dictionary and like when to use a for loop or a while loop or how to manage your state, those concepts are all going to be perfectly transferable to other languages. The only thing you need to learn when you switch to a new language is like, you know, what's the type system? What are the language specific features that you should be using? But once you get the fundamentals down in one language, like it's very easy to pick up another language. Like it takes very little time relatively. So yeah, I think it's worth learning, but it doesn't require as much effort. It's not like you're going to spend a bunch of effort learning GDScript and then you're going to have to go through all of that effort again to learn C#. It's like, no, like 80% of the learning has already been done. And then the 20% is just like the C# specific stuff. C# versus GDScript, what after developing some games? I like C#. I use C# for my games. Gunforge was written in C#. This game's written in C#. I probably will stick with C#. My next game that I want to make is probably going to require C#, but I won't get into that, the reason for that. But yeah, I mean, I like C#. I don't have any problems with it. It works well. I'm comfortable with it, so I might as well stick with it. Hello, oh, is this the same person? Or did you guys just happen to ask the same question? Sucks that you can't export to web with C#. Yeah, that is a downside, but I'm just making Steam games, so I don't really need the web export. Okay. So poison on combat start. Now, do we want to add, we probably want to add like some condition as well. Our query target provider is equal to new query target provider. No, query target provider. Create options dot query directions is equal to board inventory component entire board. Options dot custom filter is equal to card dot has related keyword keywords dot poison. Options dot custom filter description is equal to with a keywords poison ability. I think that's it. So can do poison and query target provider dot get value is greater than 0, greater than required poison items is equal to 5 required poison items. All right, so this becomes if there honestly, I might not even worry about that. Let's just do if there are at least 0 items with a keywords poison ability, apply 1 keywords dot poison on combat start. All right, and then this becomes required poison items and then base poison there. This one is ability legendary. Ability legendary poison on combat start. And then we can put that here. Poison on combat start. Okay. I guess me and that person asked the same question, I guess so. Thank you, Bear Like Lion, for the raid. 26 people, dang. Welcome, everybody. Thank you, thank you. Hello, Decifer. Got a run, but it was nice watching for a bit. Have a good stream. Thank you. iBuzz, welcome. Thank you, Bear Like Lion. I appreciate that. Alchemortis playtest out now. Yes, there is a playtest. So for everyone that has joined the stream, I'm currently working on my game Alchemortis. It's like a backpack battles style game, but where you can use alchemy to create your own builds and synergies. There is an open playtest right now. You can just go to the Steam page. It's linked below. You can click request access. So if you like inventory management, Autobattlers, and dark fantasy themes, this may be up your alley. So give it a try. Let me know what you think. I would appreciate that. You can also wishlist it if you're interested. And if you're not interested, that's okay. I'm working in Godot, so maybe if you are a fellow Godot developer, can hang out, share our Godot knowledge with each other. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Right now, specifically, I'm working on adding more legendary abilities. So I guess just to give a quick overview of the game. So basically, every item in the game has a set of abilities, and the abilities are, things that you'd expect: deal damage, apply poison, apply armor. But they can get really interesting, right? They could be like, well, apply 2 poison for every time you took damage since the last execution, right? So for example, this cultist here, this guy applies 8 fire per self-fire applied since last execution. So yeah, there's abilities. They all execute during combat. Some of them are passive, which means they're always active. And it's just it's like you would expect from like a backpack battle style inventory management. You put things in your grid here, try to maximize the synergies, etc. But the real hook of the game is the alchemy system. So I can throw things into the pot, and what will end up happening is that those abilities across those items will get jumbled up. So you can see that this cultist has actually gained 2 new abilities, and those abilities are being pulled from the other items that I added to the pot, right? So this is a way that you can refine your synergies. You can shuffle abilities around, get a little bit of that RNG in, see if you can hit the perfect item. And then there are also reagents, and reagents are specific items that only take effect in alchemy, but they're used to control the alchemical results. So for example, this is the Gambler's Toe, and what this does is this has an equal chance to halve or double the cooldown of a random item on the right edge of the board. So I could throw this guy on here. This guy has a 4-second cooldown. So if I mix those two together, we're either going to get 8 or 2, and I got 8, so that's not great, but there are ways to make that work too. There are abilities that scale based off of how long your cooldown is. So yeah, anyway, that's just a quick rundown of the overall gist of the game. It's got a Slay the Spire-esque map where you just go up in a directed graph fashion. You pick up your upgrades, you go through your combats, etc. So yeah, we don't have to do a huge in-depth view of the game, but that's what we got. An Autobattler game, yes. Do you always know if you were doing the most efficient scripting, or would you admit that there's probably a way better way you could have done something most of the time? My opinion when it comes to efficiency in scripting is that the thing that I want to be most efficient about is my understanding of the code base. So I will write code that is, from a technical standpoint, less efficient if it makes it more readable and understandable and extensible to me. So I don't really pay any mind to what is the most, in terms of CPU cycles or memory efficiency, what is the most efficient way to do things. I almost always write the code first and foremost with making it as easy for myself to understand and to read and to write the code. And then when it becomes a problem, that's when I'll go deeper into fixing obvious performance issues. And of course, You know, I do obvious things like use hash sets when appropriate, use dictionaries when appropriate, etc. I'm not just like, you know, scanning a 10,000 long list for like a single entry, right? But yeah, I just write the code in a very straightforward way, in a way that's easy for me to understand, in a way that's easy for me to follow the logic, and 99% of the time, there's absolutely no problem with that. And then the other 1% of the time, I may have to do some refactoring to make it work better. So for example, this screen, which has all the items in the game shown on it, was originally very inefficient because the way I was rendering cards was extremely inefficient. And then when I wanted to show this screen, which has over 200 items in it, it was lagging quite heavily. So I had to rework the card presentation system to get that to a reasonable number. But I didn't do that until it was actually a problem, until I actually had a need to do that. So yeah. Already interested, looks nice. Thank you, Eagle. I appreciate that. Godot is great. Yes, I love it. I love Godot. I am a Godot fanboy, after all. Sacrificial, welcome. Good to see you. Then there's me that, yeah, you use Click Team Fusion. Is that what it was? Back from ads. Is there PvP like Backpack Battles? No, I should probably mention that. This is a single-player roguelike. So it's basically like if Backpack Battles and some other games for the genre were roguelike, single-player only. And I like that. I actually... So this game was inspired partly by the Bazaar. I really liked the Bazaar, especially how it presented the upgrade moments. So what I liked about the Bazaar is like, it wasn't just like combat all the time. It was like, oh, you might do combat and then you have like 3 upgrade opportunities before you do your next combat. I thought that was a really interesting flow. So I just kind of pulled that into a single player formula where like all of these nodes, like this booster, this item upgrade, this enchant, these are all upgrade nodes. These are only going to increase your power. But then you got combat, and this is where your power gets tested, right? This is where you can actually die. But the thing I don't like about those Autobattler games is I actually don't like the PvP nature of them that much because I guess because I'm bad at those games and it always felt bad to get steamrolled by somebody who had like a perfect build and I was just like, I don't even know what's going on. So it's single player. So it's just you versus the randomly generated enemy boards. I'm from the Bear Like Lion raid, and you are the guy I learned Godot from, Small Worlds. Oh, awesome. Welcome. I'm going to assume that's a soft J, Diego the artist. Don't fix if it's not broke. True. Remember seeing your short of this. It was beautiful work. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're getting close to release. The game is going to release in several short months here. It's going to release before the end of the year. So... we're getting to the end, and I still have a lot of content that I want to do and everything, but we'll get there. Turbo Warp. Right, Turbo Warp. Why was I saying Click Team Fusion? Is that the guy on YouTube? What's his name? 2 Clicks Philip? Is that the guy that used Click Team Fusion? I get that confused, I guess. It's a mod of Scratch, gotcha. Actually, I haven't used Turbo Warp before. You would assume wrong, it's Jago. Okay, good to know. Sorry for mispronouncing. You never know. You never know with those J words. Okay, so poison on combat start. So this is a new legendary ability that I just added. Basically what we're trying to make this do is apply 25 poison on combat start if there are at least 5 poison items on the board. So we're gonna go ahead and test that now. Do I have a way of adding legendary abilities? Oh, I may actually take another detour. So I've got a little cheat window for myself. I've got a little cheat window for myself where I can add things. So if I do like maggot, I can do like add enchant cooldown. I hope this is what it's called. Oops, I misspelled it. Add enchant cooldown reduction. What the heck? Well, I guess I don't remember a name of my enchant. Let's see. Oh, it's called turn cooldown, right? Add enchant turn cooldown. Yeah, so I can just like modify my items with the cheat menu there. So I've got enchant on that reduces the cooldown. But I don't have a way of doing that for legendary abilities. So I'm thinking I might do that. So let's see. I don't think that's going to be too much of a detour because I have add corrupted ability here. So I think if I just copy this guy, we'll do add legendary ability. No item hovered key. This would be legendary abilities, dot abilities first or default. No legendary ability. I think that's it. That'll work. So poison on combat start. So let's see if I actually did it correctly. Also, I'm going to turn on my training dummies so I have something to fight against. I've been using Turbo Warp basically since it came out, and I've been making custom extensions for it for my games. Awesome. That's cool. Here it is, folks. He cheats at his own game. Yeah. Question on your multiplayer tutorial in Udemy. Which protocol are you using for connectivity? WebSockets, eNet, WebRTC, or raw UDP? I think it's eNet. It's just whatever the default like multiplayer peer is. No, it's definitely eNet for sure. So it's just so that multiplayer course is not like, it's not super sophisticated in the sense of like, I'm not showing you how you could do all the different types of connections or protocols. And I'm also not showing like how to do lag compensation. That is mostly a course that's just about like, how do you think about programming a multiplayer game? Like, how do you manage the state? How do you communicate state changes? Which state do you need to communicate? So it's more of like an introduction to multiplayer. It's not like a comprehensive, sophisticated, like, here's everything you could possibly want to know about multiplayer, if that makes sense. You can make custom extensions in Turbo Warp. I don't know. I don't think I've even seen Turbo Warp. Hello, G. Whittington. Welcome. All right. So I guess we'll just do... Oh, I need a bunch of poison items. Okay. Add legendary ability. Poison on combat start. And I forgot to build the translations. That's all right. Add item, repeat, Sage 4. Oh, yeah, this is not going to work. Okay. This is not going to work. So I forgot to build the translations, and I also forgot to put the query target provider there, and I also need to do ability. This is a little bit... It's a little bit messy, but that's okay. Yeah, let's try it again. I'm off for dinner. Have a good day and have a great stream, Firebelly. Thank you. Appreciate it, Bear Like Lion. Thank you, thank you. And thanks again for the raid. I appreciate that. Have a good night. JavaScript which interacts with Turbo Warp VM. Basically any block you like. Okay, build the translations now. How's the playtest been going? It's been going good. Most of the feedback that I've gotten has been like small, like bugs or like UX quality of life suggestions. My impression is that people are liking the core gameplay a lot though, which is great. Okay. If there are at least 5 items with a poison ability, apply 25 poison on combat start. Add item repeat. So we're going to try with 4 first. So this should count as a poison ability. So basically the way that this works is like if this says with a poison ability, then that means that any ability on the item that has a poison keyword counts as a poison ability. So this should do nothing. Perfect. So that didn't do anything. We'll auto-resolve just so we could skip ahead. I'll add another Sage. Put that there. All right, let's see if it works. So I should see 25 poison immediately. Dang it. Didn't work. Oh, I didn't. Oh, wait. Never mind. Okay, it didn't work. Let me streamline this a little bit. Crystal ball. Okay, sage. I guess copy and pasting would have been easier there, but that's all right. So I got to figure out why this isn't working now. Ability, generic flag flipper. Can do poison. Required poison. Oh, this needs to be greater than or equal to. Right. I had exactly 5. Okay, good. I think that will fix it. I hope that will fix it because I really don't hope. I hope I don't have to go through the plumbing of all those abilities and figure out where it's breaking. So hopefully this works. Add legendary. I need autocomplete on this. Oh my goodness. Okay, if there are at least 5 items to the poison ability, apply 25 poison on combat start. There we go. Perfect. And we'll just go ahead and auto-resolve. And then if I sell one of these and I go into combat, that should not do anything anymore. Okay, no poison applied. Let's add another sage. So right now, the reason I'm just doing this over and over again is I want to make sure that that flag is being flipped properly, because this needs to be reset so that at the beginning of every combat, it can do that again. So let's see. There we go. Yeah, it works. It works. It's a shader support GLSL. Interesting. I made food that took so long to make I don't want to eat it anymore. I've not had time to play it due to internship wrapping up. How long will the playtest be going for? I actually get some free time next week. I'm not sure. It will go for at least a week. So at least until Monday of next week. But it may go for a little bit longer than that. I actually don't know. I should ask my publisher about that. They're the ones that are now coordinating like the playtest dates and everything. I mean, coordinating it with me, but yeah. Okay, it seems to be working. Oh, I want some fried chicken. Even a zip extension to make zip files. You can use temporary variables. You can use regex as well. Wow. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Snupbill, for the IDR 10,000. It's always appreciated. Thank you. With the message yummers. Of course, we love the message yummers. Okay. So, I think we're good, right? We got the translations built. This is working. It's part of the pool. I think we're okay. I got to use that combat start stuff more frequently. All right, so now the next, let's think of another legendary ability to do. I mean, we could do something easy like confuse all enemy items on combat start or something. That may be a little bit too powerful. I kind of want to do a confusion-based legendary ability, maybe a paralysis-based one. What do I currently have? Projected cooldown reduction, permanent fire growth, copy healing, true damage. What does this one do again? Per poison damage dealt. Oh, interesting. Oh, that one's probably... No, actually, that's probably fine. Shield. Apply armor equal to damage taken since last execution. We already have paralyze and damage. Okay. Echo per empty ability slot. That's an interesting one. Poison on combat start. If you were to make another Udemy course, what would you make it over? That's a good one. I don't know. I would probably just go back and update my other courses because they've been neglected a little bit. Yeah, I probably would just do that. I think there's an interesting addendum that could be made to the Vampire Survivors course, which would be how to make it more of like a entity component system-esque with multi-mesh drawing, so you could support like hordes of hundreds of enemies. I think that would be an interesting addendum to that course that I'd like to do at some point if I ever got back into it. But yeah, there's only so much time in a day. There's only so much time in a life. Apply burn on combat start. I mean, yeah, we could do that too. Confuse all items with size greater than 1. Okay, that works. That's a good one. Yeah, let's do that. Do we want to make that an on combat start ability, or do we want to make it no, actually, I'm going to modify that a little bit. I'm going to make it confuse larger items. So new composed ability. Oh, this one needs to be, I think I need to set this to can echo equals. Yeah, so can echo is false. Right, okay. I always forget to set that. Always forget to think about it. Confuse larger items. I'm just going to copy this because I already have that kind of thing that I need. All right, so generic non-combat composed ability dot from card data provider. So this becomes non-combat data provider. Okay, so basically I'm getting data about the card that the ability is on. We don't want to do, yeah, we don't want to do this. We've got a query target provider, query target board, entire board, card.absolute occupied cells.count is greater than card data provider absolute occupied cells.count. So then we're going to want to do a var buff applicator, confuse applicator, buff applicator, confuse debuff, query target provider, initial base magnitude is 1, magnitude oh wait, I actually don't even need to do the buff factory anymore. I forgot. Okay, confuse applicator, value scaler, we don't care about this. We don't care about that. Okay, confuse applicator, good. Description template. Keywords dot confuse dot capitalized. Enemy items larger than this item. We don't have any description template parameters. This becomes ability legendary confuse larger items. Let's also make sure that this key is set to confuse larger items. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. So from abilities, so the reason I'm doing this, so this card data provider, this essentially just stores whatever data that's relevant to the card that owns this ability. And I wrap it in a non-combat ability, which is a passive ability, so that this is always up to date with the board state. And so now I guess I don't really need to do that. Actually, now that I think about it, I probably don't need to do that. Yeah, I actually don't think I need to do that. I could just put the card data provider here. So the card data provider will execute during combat as well, but it's just going to refresh this data, which doesn't really matter, I guess. The custom filter will continue to work because it's referencing this card data provider. So yeah, I actually don't know, why did I do that? Why did I feel like I needed to do that here? Oh, I know why. I know why I did that. Because this card data provider base card won't be set when I hover over it, and it'll throw a null reference issue. So basically, wrapping it in a passive ability forces the data to be up to date. So that way, when I hover over the item, it will properly highlight all of the items that are larger than it. That makes sense. Okay, and then we'll do confuse larger items in there. All right, let's take a gander. Went AFK for a sec. Might leave as it's half 1 a.m. and I've been here since the stream literally started. That's all right. Hope you have a good night. Anyone here hasn't liked the stream, then do it. He deserves it. Thank you. I appreciate that. And wishlist the game. Yes, please wishlist the game. Thanks for joining, Fire Blast. It was good to see you. Half 12. I don't... What does half 12 mean? Is that half past 12? 12:30? Add legendary ability. Confuse larger items. And I forgot to build a translation school, but we should still see that this works. And it doesn't look like it's going to work. It didn't work. So what did I do wrong here? Oh, forgot to put the query target provider in. That's what I forgot to do. And I'm missing the confuse keyword. Okay. I have liked the stream, it just doesn't update in real time. 12:32 a.m. Gotcha. It's only 7:30 here. I think I'm in the same time zone. Yeah, it's only 7:33 here. Yeah. Yep. It is still early. I mean, I guess not really, but what in the heck, man? Object reference not set to an instance of object. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to debug that. Let's see. Launch the translation generator. Oh, buff factory, get keyword. Get keywords. Oh, yeah. Can't believe that wasn't an issue yet. Okay, so let's just do private card debuff, card buff, create buff, turn. Yeah. So that should be functionally the same, and then this one should also be the same. Yeah. Whatever. Build again. Build the translations, it should work. Actually, do I even need... I think I was reading it wrong. I might not need this anymore. Yeah, I actually don't think I need that anymore. Build again. get this translation up to par. Okay, build the translations. No error this time. We should see that in here. Confuse enemy items larger than this item. Okay. So, add legendary ability. Actually, I should say for one execution, I guess. Constant duration. But let's just see if this works. Yep, it worked. Cool. So they're doing self-damage to themselves because that's what confusion does. Cool. So the next thing to do would be to put this on a larger item, add item, skeleton, dragon, and then add legendary ability, confuse larger items. And then this should basically do nothing because the training dummies are smaller. They do get paralyzed, but that's a different thing. Okay. So let's just do one more build. One final check on this before I send it. Okay. Add legendary ability. Confuse enemy items larger than this item for one execution. Nice. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might not be that powerful for a legendary ability, but we can adjust later, I suppose. All right, so add confuse legendary. Alrighty then. So I think that's good. Legendary, I'm just going to write this down. Confuse items larger than this one. Write that down so I have a note of it being complete. And I think what I'll do is I will just go ahead and kick off. I'll just go ahead and kick off a build. So let's do node tool tagger 0.19.42. Yes, that will push all the tags, kick off all my workflows. So yeah, that's currently building and will be uploaded to Steam shortly. But that's going to be it for the stream for now. I'll get that patch out as soon as it's ready, so you guys can play with all the stuff that we just worked on stream. But yeah, join the Alchemortars playtest. The link for the Steam page is below. You just got to click the request access button and you'll get instant access. This is the last playtest I'm doing before the public demo and then before the release. So yeah, I would appreciate your last minute feedback, any concerns or questions or comments you have about the game, because I'll just be spending the next couple months now just refining everything and adding a bunch of new content, making sure the balance is really nice. But I think in terms of the game systems, it's largely the game systems are largely solidified. So yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Check out the links in the description below. I hope you all have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. I'll be streaming on Twitch and YouTube. Same channels, different time. Okay. Bye-bye for now.